it's Haley and today is Bookmas Day 19. So I am going to be doing a new video that I'm really excited about, and it takes a lot to explain, but basically it's if you liked this book, then you might like this 2022 release. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So before we get into it, don't forget to click that subscribe button and then click the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post, as I'm putting up a new video every single day for the entire month of December. Yesterday for Bookmas Day 18, I talked about some upcoming 2022 book to movie adaptations that are coming out, so I will have that video linked down below, as well as the entire Bookmas playlist so you can get caught up if you have missed anything. I really love doing these if you liked this, then you liked this videos. They are some of my favorites to film because it's such an easy way to recommend books. Like, you already know that you liked something, so here's something that's kind of similar but a little bit different but has the same vibes, and you'll probably like that one too. It's what I used to do all the time at the bookstore, and I loved it. Like, I loved when someone came and said, like, I loved this book, can you recommend something else that's kind of like it? And it was always a challenge. It's my favorite. So I was trying to figure out a way to incorporate this into Bookmas, and I thought, what better way than taking some books that some of them came out this past year, a lot of them are just, they've been out for a little bit, and recommending a book that you will probably like that's coming out in 2022 based on that book. I feel like you'll get the hang of it as we get into the video, so let's just get into it. So first of all, if you enjoyed The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, then you should try Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen. I know a lot of you guys really love The Cruel Prince, so I'm excited to have a recommendation that's kind of like it. Violet Made of Thorns is a little bit more witchy than The Cruel Prince is, but it features morally gray characters, and specifically a character who is a morally gray witch. That's the main character that you're following. Alongside that witch, there's also a cursed princess and a prophecy, and their fates are intertwined through that prophecy. This focuses a lot on court life and the life of this witch and the princess, and like the twisted web that they are in. Definitely the morally gray characters and that kind of dynamic that's happening there really makes me think of The Cruel Prince. So I think that if you did enjoy The Cruel Prince, then you should check out this one. Next up, if you liked Star Daughter by Shveta Thakrar, then you should try out Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan. When I saw this book, one, I didn't even really make the connection that it's Star Daughter and then Daughter of the Moon Goddess as well. So obviously you can see the comparison there. We have the Daughter of a Moon Goddess and the Daughter of a Star here. But the main thing that drew me to both of these books is the fact that it deals with a celestial world and celestial beings. In this case, it's obviously a star. The main character is half star, and in Daughter of the Moon Goddess, it's the daughter of a moon goddess, and it's actually based in mythology. So you're following this main character who is on a quest to try and save her mother. And in Star Daughter, the main character goes on her own quest to try and save her father. So they're both trying to save a parent who's really important to them, and are kind of taking a journey in order to do so, and end up in this celestial heavenly kingdom. So it's really cool. I'm hoping that the world is going to be similar to Star Daughter in Daughter of the Moon Goddess, because I absolutely fell in love with the world of this novel. So if it's going to be anything like that, then definitely it's going to be great. Next up, if you enjoyed Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco, then you should try out Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. Adalyn Grace is actually the author of All the Stars and Teeth, which I haven't read, but Belladonna seems so intriguing to me. It's a murder mystery. There's been like poison, and the main character is trying to solve this mystery alongside death. So like, super cool. And I think that it's quite similar to Kingdom of the Wicked, because you have a character who is trying to solve this murder mystery alongside a very interesting partner. In this case, it's a demon prince. And I'm expecting, you know, a little bit of romance there, which you definitely get some of in here. This one's actually set in Italy, and it's set in like kind of a Victorian era, like around that time period. And Belladonna, I'm not sure. I think it's entirely fantastical, but I have a feeling they're gonna have the same like dark gothic sort of vibes, which is absolutely incredible. So definitely one to check out if you enjoyed Kingdom of the Wicked. Next up, if you enjoyed Caraval by Stephanie Garber, then you definitely need to check out Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. Obviously, Caraval is well known for like its whimsy and the fact that it kind of sweeps you away to this really weird game, this world where you don't know what's up and what's down, and it just takes you away. And Hotel Magnifique is definitely, it seems seems like it's a book that's going to do that as well. This hotel is legendary for its whimsical enchantments and also its ability to travel. It shows up in a new place every morning, and it ends up showing up where the main character lives one morning, and she and her sister, they can't afford to actually go to like stay at the hotel, so they just go to interview the staff, but then they end up getting swept away and realize that this hotel has a lot of secrets to it. I love the adventure and the whimsy that I think that this book is going to have, and it's definitely something that Caraval had going for it. So this one seems like it's going to be just like that, like weird, sort of don't really know what's what, and just full of magic. So I'm really looking forward to reading Hotel Magnifique when it comes out, and I really enjoyed Caraval, so I feel like I'm probably gonna like it. Next, if you enjoyed Beach Read by Emily Henry, then you definitely need to try The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. This is actually this author duo's first adult romance. They have written quite a few YA contemporaries, but I'm really excited for this next one. Now, the reason that I think that you would definitely like The Roughest Draft if you enjoyed Beach Read is because writers are the main characters, and it kind of has an enemies to lovers story vibe. I think that in The Roughest Draft it's going to be a lot more strong because the enemies to lovers vibe in here is not so much enemies, like they are kind of, they butt heads a little bit, but it's more of like a misunderstanding thing. However, writing is such a vital topic to both of these books. In The Roughest Draft, you are following a couple who used to write stories together, which is really funny because that's exactly what the authors did, but then they had a falling out. This isn't true, like the authors didn't happen. I'm talking about the book now. That's gonna be really confusing. But basically, they used to co-author books together, and then they had this falling out and they haven't seen each other or even spoken in a very long time. But now they end up going to this like cabin in Florida where they stay to work on writing again. So they're getting back to writing together, and obviously there's going to be some romance in there. And that's pretty similar to this one. The main character is experiencing writer's block, so she goes to stay at her recently deceased father's cabin, and her next door neighbor ends up being this writer that she went to college with, and they end up swapping what they're writing for the genre that they're writing in for the summer. Now, the two characters in The Roughest Draft are writing a romance novel together, so obviously as they've kind of been butting heads and have had this falling out, that's going to be really interesting. But you have a romance writer in here as well, so I just feel like inevitably if you enjoyed Beach Read, The Roughest Draft is going to be one that's definitely worth checking out. Next up, if you enjoyed Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron, then you should check out The Bone Spindle by Leslie Vader. Both of these stories are retellings, which is like an automatic glaring similarity between the two of them. The Bone Spindle is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and Cinderella is Dead is a Cinderella retelling. But it seems like they are going to both be stories that have really strong female leads. And to top it off, they are both lesbian romances. In The Bone Spindle, you follow a bookish treasure hunter and a prince who has been under this sleeping curse for years, and a girl warrior. And they are trying to team up together to break their kingdom out of this curse that it's been under. And that's actually quite similar to Cinderella is Dead as well. Cinderella is Dead, like the women in this story have just been the woman in that world. They go to this ball and they have to get chosen, and if they don't, they just end up disappearing when a man doesn't pick them. So like the main character is really trying to get to the bottom of that and kind of upend it because she wants to be with the girl that she loves, but that's not allowed. So I'm definitely looking forward to another retelling. I don't think I've ever really read a Sleeping Beauty retelling, so that's going to be awesome, but definitely from the synopsis I am getting a lot of Cinderella is Dead vibes in the best way possible. Next up, if you enjoyed History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera, then you should check out All That Is Left in the World by Eric J. Brown. Both of these stories are gay love stories, but they're both quite different. However, I do think that they have their similarities. So in this case, you're following a boy who had a boyfriend and they ended up breaking up, but he never like actually considered them to be over. And his ex-boyfriend moved away and found someone new, but then he ends up dying. So his ex-boyfriend's new boyfriend is like the only person that he feels like he can bond with and understands what he's going through, and the two of them end up having a relationship. In All That's Left in the World, it is a post-apocalyptic story where there has been this pathogen that has just completely wiped out most of the people on the planet. And you have these two characters who have lost pretty much everyone that they've ever loved, and they end up coming together and meeting each other, and for some reason they just trust each other. So I feel like the idea of like having no one else that understands what you've been through and then coming together and starting a relationship in spite of that, or because of it really, is definitely where the two of these stories combine for me. All That's Left in the World is more of like a survival story for those two characters, but from my understanding, it does also have a romance going on in there. So I definitely think that if you're a fan of Adam Silvera, and particularly this book, that would be a great one. Next up, if you enjoyed Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon, you should check out Love from Scratch by Caitlin Hill. The main connection between the two of these is that they're both set in Seattle, and they feature two characters, enemies to lovers, rivals sort of thing. But it's very different than Today, Tonight, Tomorrow because it's not like academic rivals. They actually are bakers, and the main character is trying to get a fall position. Like, she's in there for an internship and she's trying to get a fall position, but she has to deal with this guy that she really can't stand along the way. So we've got enemies to lovers there, we have the Seattle setting, and I feel like both of these are like, you know, there's similarities there for sure. And really it's similar because like they're in an academic battle where they're trying to outsmart each other for literally their entire high school career, and these two characters are trying to outcook each other. So that's fun. And finally, if you enjoyed When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon, then you should definitely check out Love Decoded by Jennifer Yen. Both of these books kind of deal with characters who have really big expectations put on them by their parents, and that definitely is something that connects the two. However, I feel like the main thing is that it deals with a female lead who is really interested in STEM, and I think that is like, there's not a lot of that, so that's why I definitely wanted to recommend this book. In this book, we have obviously Dimple. She goes to this camp for coding and all of that, and programming and stuff, and in Love Decoded, the main character actually ends up coding an app, and it ends up going viral, and it's like this whole thing. So it's really cool to see books coming out with women in STEM. I think that's amazing, and I mean, we have one, now you have another to read. There you go. Okay, so those are all of my if you liked this book, then you might like this 2022 release recommendations for you guys. I don't know why it's literally the wordiest thing to say, I'm sorry, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Tomorrow for Bookmas Day 20, it's going to be the last reading vlog of Bookmas, but I read a bunch of Christmas romance reads, so it's gonna be very festive, lots of fun, since we are like, oh no, we're less than a week out. We are 6 days from Christmas, which is so exciting. But I will see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you tomorrow in another one. Bye!